At exactly 2:14 a.m., the security camera froze. Not a normal glitch. No stutter, no static. Just a clean jump forward. 1 full minute missing. And when the footage came back, something had changed. A single item on the counter had moved, and a note was sitting there that hadn't existed before. Welcome to DarkRoom Stories. Tonight's case isn't about what the camera captured. It's about what it didn't. Because the scariest part of missing time is realizing something had time to happen while you weren't allowed to see it. The store was called Beacon Mart, a small convenience shop at the edge of town. The kind of place that stays open late because the highway's nearby. Bright lights, quiet aisles, a humming fridge wall, and a bell that jingles even when the wind pushes the door. That night, the clerk, Evan, was alone. He was on the overnight shift, half awake, scrolling his phone, counting minutes until sunrise. The store's CCTV system was old, but reliable. 4 cameras: front door, counter, aisle 2, and the back hallway leading to the storage room. The footage stored locally. No cloud, no fancy AI. Just time, date, and whatever it saw. At 2:13:58 a.m., Evan stood behind the counter, rubbing his eyes. Everything looked normal. Then the bell over the entrance rang, but nobody walked in. Evan looked up anyway, a quick glance toward the door, then went back to his phone. That's when the camera skipped. The timestamp jumped from 2:14:12 to 2:15:12. A perfect leap. No blur, no corrupted file warning, just missing time. When the footage resumed, the store looked almost identical. Evan was still behind the counter. The aisles were still empty. But the counter display, a small rack of lighters and gum, had shifted slightly, like it had been nudged. Not enough to scream break-in, just enough to feel wrong. And next to Evan's receipt printer, there was a sticky note. The camera angle wasn't great, but you could still read it when the image sharpened. Don't check the back room. Evan didn't notice it at first. He was staring at his phone like he'd heard something, like a sound that didn't make it into the recording. Then, slowly, he looked at the note. He froze. Here's the part that makes people argue about this case. Evan didn't run. He didn't call out. He didn't laugh it off. He did something stranger. He opened the cash register, not to take money, but to pull out a small key from underneath the tray. A key that didn't belong to the register. Then he looked toward the back hallway. Not like someone checking a noise, like someone remembering a rule. Because every night shift has rules, unwritten ones. The kind you only learn by surviving the job long enough. The next morning, the store owner, Mara, reviewed the footage. She thought the note was a prank. She thought Evan had written it himself. But then she checked the door sensor logs. The system recorded entries and exits using a simple motion trigger. During the missing minute, the log showed door open, 2:14:33. Door closed, 2:14:41. 8 seconds. But the front door camera never showed anyone entering, and the bell never rang again. So Mara checked the other cameras. Aisle 2, Empty. Counter. Evan's still there. Back hallway. Darkness. Motionless shelves. And one flicker of light. Like a frame dropped. Then she paused the footage at the exact moment the time jump happened, and she zoomed into the reflection on the fridge glass. It wasn't clear, but it was enough. A shape. Not Evan, not an employee. Standing where the camera couldn't directly see. Mara called Evan. No answer. She went to the store. Evan's car was still in the parking lot. His jacket was still on the chair behind the counter. The store was locked from the inside, but the door was slightly unlatched, like it had been pulled shut without being fully closed. And the sticky note? Gone. In its place, another note sat on the counter. This one was cleaner. Printed letters, like someone had traced them carefully. You looked. Now Mara did what anyone would do. She checked the back room. The storage door was locked. She used the key she found under the register tray, the same key Evan held in the footage. Inside the back room was nothing dramatic. No intruder, no broken window. Just rows of boxes, a buzzing light, and on the far wall, a small section of paint that looked newer than the rest. A patch, like something had been covered up. Behind that paint was a narrow door. Not a real door, more like an access panel. Old, hidden, and sealed. Mara didn't open it. She called the building inspector. Turns out the store was used to be connected to an older building next door, one that had burned down years ago. A service corridor had been sealed after the fire. Nobody mentioned it when the property changed owners. But somebody still knew it was there. And somebody still had a way inside. That's where the case ends.